I was born not far from Schaffhausen in another city, but in German-speaking part of Switzerland. And I made my studies as a watchmaker in Westpart, where the whole watch industry is. And after this, when I was qualified watchmaker, I wanted to come back in German-speaking part, and I had no choice. IWC was the only watch manufacturer in this part, and so I went there to ask, do you need a young watchmaker? And so Mr. Albert Peloton gave me an interview, and then he said, okay, you can start to work. And now, 61 years again, I'm still here. Yeah. Mr. Peloton was one man for everything in IWC. Officially, he was technical director, but he was also himself the inviter. He constructed the movements, and he was head of production, all the same person. And so I don't really know why, but after a short time working in IWC, assembling movements, he got my mentor. And I got his assistant. When he has made some new movements and new constructions, I made prototypes, I made tests with his movements, and so I learned a lot from him. From him, I learned the engineering of watch movements. I never have been in an engineer school. I came direct from watchmaking school, but Albert Peloton transformed me to an engineer. And so I was very happy to work with him. It was not always easy, sometimes hard, and I can give a definition in one word. When I was doing something for him, a practical inner movement, I showed him. He said, yes, this is very good, but it could be a little bit better. He was always calculating on thousands of millimeters. This was Albert Peloton. After 1970, Albert Peloton got retired, and then he passed. And so in this time then came the big crisis in Swiss watch industry. We call it the quartz crisis. It was not only the quartz, there are many reasons, but maybe the quartz movement was the most important. In this time, we had in the beginning, the 70s, IWC was working very well, and half production, that means 50% of our production was sold to Japan. Only Japan. One day, the importer in Japan, he said, oh, I have a big stock, huh? I don't need more. And for one day to the other, it was finished. We was working 4 days a week. We lost more than half of the employers, from over 300 down to 150. The engineers, before working together with Albert Peloton, they left, or they had to leave. And so I was completely alone. And so I tried to do it myself. I developed some nice mechanisms on pocket watches. So there was, first was a calendar module with a date, day, the moon phase. We only called it the moon phase watch because before IWC never produced one complicated watches, only to read the time, nothing else. And now I try to make this mechanism. I used the basic moment. I didn't touch the moment. I only made some plate, some wheels on, a simple calendar, not at all perpetual. It has to be adjusted every month. And so when I presented this to the management, they said, crazy idea. Now it is time for what? But the leading man, yes, there was even Mr. Homberger in this time, they wanted to continue a mechanical watch. And then finally they said, yes, we try, we make an experiment. We make 100 pieces of this pocket watch with the moon phase and date. And try, can we sell it? And then in 1976, we presented it in the watch fair, 100 pieces, and it was sold out after 2 days. Sold out, but I had then to work 1 year to assemble, to make all the 100 pieces. Yeah, and all after a year this was really sold out. And this was, of course, not a big business. For IW 100 watches, yeah, it was for this time expensive. I remember well, it was 12,000 Swiss francs in this time, in the 70s. This was a good price. But it was a motivation. They said, yes, we think there is a market for this thing. There are some watch lovers want to buy it. And I was allowed to continue. And I made some other nice products, calendars, for instance, zodiac watch, one hand rotating once a year and indicated all 12 zodiacs on the way. It was very nice, and it was sold. And so even one with a thermometer inside was very nice. Really, I had no other way to go than use. It was for me impossible to create a new movement in this time. And so I thought this modular system, later, many years later, Blümlein called it the systems engineering. Yeah, it's really, we have many, and this is the best way until today. End of the 70s, our sales director, I think you know it, Mr. Hannes Pantley, came and said, I can no more sell pocket watches. People want wristwatches. No, stop here and now continue with a wristwatch. And of course, there was some reflection in my head. I was very happy to get this task, and my idea was quickly, but it must be a perpetual calendar. No more these simple calendars to adjust every month, a perpetual calendar.